We are back in the black hole of real estate, and today I want to problem solve for all of you. We're getting a lot of questions about what is the biggest problem in real estate, and so today we're going to talk about that. This is your host, Ron Wysakarski, for the black hole of real estate. And, for me, the biggest problem in real estate might just be a combination of things. For many people, high prices are an issue. And even though interest rates are not historically high, they're higher than they were, and with inflation, it's tough on people. And then even further, there's more inventory now than there was last year and the year before and in quite some time, but yet it still feels limited because even with this increase in inventory, some people feel like there's just not the right house for them, or one that would cause them to stretch the budget to make the purchase. So where do we take it from here? So high home prices, relatively limited inventory, stable interest rates over the last year, even though they're higher, they're stable. It's making it harder for people to enter the market, especially first-time home buyers, people unsure what they want, or move-up buyers where they feel like they're spending a lot more to get a little more than they currently have. So that's certainly a piece. And while we're talking about inventory, there's just not enough homes to meet the demand in the most highly desired areas. And even with that, if you look at what might be termed affordable housing, whatever that might mean these days, a lot of those homes are ones that are in need of repairs or big ticket items that, quite honestly, entry-level buyers will not have the cash for post-closing. So that continues to be a problem. Now, interest rates. We've had this conversation over and over again. Historically, rates between 6 and 7 are concluded to be average. But we enjoyed rates as low as 2%, for a brief time when they were artificially, deflated to cause more movement in the housing market and make the cost of borrowing things less expensive. And that came in a price. As far as people's savings accounts and the CDs and retirement accounts. So, it got too low. And now we feel like, even though it's more of an average time, it's too high because there's this combination of inflation. And, staying on the topic of inflation, you can spit out any number that you want. It's 1%, 2%, 3%. Of the target is 2%. Things cost a lot more. Wages are not keeping up with it. And the cost of housing and everything that goes in a house, between furniture to food, it's all more expensive. There's a forced multiplier that makes it way more expensive than this 2% inflation rate that we keep hearing, because everything's multiplying. And I think it's more than 2% increase in the size of a family's budget in the last year. Economic uncertainty. No one really knows where the economy is heading. We think we know where it is. And whether or not you're a fan of all the maneuverings right now, tariffs are playing a role. And if we go down that path, and it sure looks like it's going to go that way, then there is this prospect of more well-paying jobs, for Americans. Now, a lot of things have to happen for that to play out, and it will certainly not happen overnight. So there needs to be, I guess some faith in that, if that's the way that we're going. Whether or not you individually like it or we individually like it, there was a vote, there was a mandate, and now the administration moving forward with that. So probably not a lot to stop the forces that are in motion right now. And if we're going to have a change, for me, probably the sooner the better, so we can see if the result is what they had hoped it would be. Because being stuck in gridlock, this neutral gear that we're in right now, isn't moving the ball forward or backward. And that's probably not good for anybody, at least right now. If you're a home buyer, and this will feel weird, but there's competition out there. And so how do you say that when it's taking longer for homes to sell? Buyers are taking longer to make decisions. Well, it's compounded because with the rates being such that they are, most buyers want everything on their list and still get a deal. And they're holding firmer to it because I'm, quote, put your air quotes up, if I'm going to pay that price, it better have everything I want. Fine. But when that house finally comes along, chances are there's someone, more than just one person, more than just you, looking for that house. When it comes up, it creates a lot of competition for those highly desirable homes in highly desirable areas that are turnkey, got great views, great schools, close to everything, the popular properties, you name it. It also follows suit on something that's priced, below the median sales price. When the affordable property comes along that doesn't need complete renovation, that isn't a money pit, that's move-in ready, those are also highly sought after. So competition is real in those price pockets. We notice that new construction right now, in most cases, they're making some deals, and they don't always do that. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean their prices are coming down long term. It could be more that with tariffs and that movement in place, it creates a supply chain problem, whether it's temporary or long term, we're not sure. But if the goods that the home builders are using are readily available and American made, probably easier to acquire those materials. But if they're sourcing things from areas that are outside the country, and even worse, in high tariff areas or high tariff concerns, then the cost of building those houses is going to go up, and a lot of them are going to liquidate their inventory downward, especially when they're building spec homes that, and ready to move in homes where they're just high production builders. They make them, you buy them. If they, for some reason, there's going to be an interruption to materials that they can have, or an increase, the potential of increase in materials, they're going to wither their inventory downward, maintain their prices to the best of their ability, make some incentives along the way. And at some point, that's going to create, you guessed it, a new construction home shortage. You can mark it down. Because they're slowing down the building starts right now, there will be a shortage, whether it's 6 months or 2 years down the road. Somewhere coming up, there will be a shortage, which will, again, drive prices higher and create more competition. Trying to navigate the market with all these moving parts, it can feel hard. And I spent a lot of time going through these leading indicators and reading, from the economists that I trust and believe in, and also using, 20 plus years of experience in this particular business in Florida, and being in business really my entire life. There's clues that don't have to be 100% right, but that experience can help you do what people say is see around corners. And as much as we want to will it into existence that interest rates drop and home prices drop, it's a completely unlikely scenario. And it wouldn't happen at the same time in all likelihood. If they went that way, it would cause a lot of disruption in the market. If rates went from 6.5% down to 2%, but that's not going to happen. We'll be lucky to see a 0.5% decrease at the Fed rate between now and the end of the year, because there's only 4 meetings left. So if you split the difference and you get to as a 0.5% at the Fed level, that may only be 0.25% on the actual interest rate, because a lot of the interest rate anticipation of lowering rates has been priced in already. So it's not likely that rates are going to get into the 5s. If they do, it'll be short-lived. They'll probably bounce back up. I would hold out hope for a 5.875 someplace this year, and I've been talking about it a lot. But as we go through each successive meeting, the odds are going down. I'd also say the prices will not drop dramatically, because it would take a lot of changes. It would take some really solidly negative economic matters right now for prices to drop dramatically. So that's unlikely too. And if the prices are scooching down a little bit and the rates are going down just a little bit, each one creates a bounce back for the other. If prices come down, people will jump back in, create some new competition, stabilize that price. If rates come down, hey, I can afford a little bit more. And if I was only looking at $300 million, maybe I can spend $325. And they'd be more willing to look at homes, listed maybe a little bit higher. So, the real problem with real estate is probably just navigating it. And understanding each of these things or having an expert help you guide you through this is really what we're looking for. So I think that as much as we want to say the problem with the market is home prices or inventory or interest rates or the economy or competition, maybe it's just navigation of all of those things. So if you are looking for a guide to help you safely navigate yourself through the home buying or selling process, then seek out information and then make the best possible decision. We hope we're providing that for you right here. I'm looking forward to doing more of this for you to help you through what can be a really tough time in trying to buy or sell a property or get into a market or get into investments or maybe just buy your first home, second home, vacation home, a piece of land, build a home. Those are the things we want to help you with. Look forward to catching up with you on the next episode. This is your host, Ron Wysakarski for the Black Hole of Real Estate.